Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today on this primary election day here in Pennsylvania. We are coming to you from Committee of 70 headquarters here in Philadelphia. My name is Andrew McGinley. I'm the Vice President of External Affairs, and I am so pleased to be joined today by my friend and our Chancellor of the Philadelphia Bar Association, Kathy Jaffari. In addition to her role at the bar, she also serves as the Chair of Corporate Governance, Co-Chair of Capital Markets and Securities, and the Chair of ESG at Cozen O'Connor, the law firm here in Philadelphia. Good to see you, Kathy.
Good to see you, Andrew. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us. We are very excited to talk. In some ways, this election is a little quieter, but what's really big on the ballot this time are judicial elections, and that is your bread and butter. So thank you so much for joining us. Maybe we just get started a little bit. Let's talk about, so the Philadelphia Bar Association has the Commission on Judicial Selection and Retention. Can you talk about sort of what that commission does, why the bar decides to do this work? Because it's a time-intensive process.
Yes.
Maybe let's start with the basics and then we'll get into some detail.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. So first and foremost, the Judicial Commission of the Philadelphia Bar Association has been investigating and ranking candidates for judicial office, Andrew, for actually more than 40 years. Every time I say that number, I'm like, wow, that's a really long time.
Slightly older than me.
I'm not going to say where it is in relation to me. But the work of the commission is really steeped in our mission, actually, Andrew. And you ask kind of why do we do it? Our mission is to serve the profession and the public by promoting justice, professional excellence, and the respect for the rule of law. So, for example, through the commission's work, as you know, we do a lot of other things, but through the commission's work, we are actually able to meet our mission by fostering an understanding of, involvement in, and access to the justice system. Since we currently do not have a merit selection system in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, it was decided that as a trade association representing the legal industry, we should do the work of ensuring that there are qualified judges on the bench and that our community has the information it needs to make informed voting decisions. And I know C70 understands what that means.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm sure you know, but for anyone who's watching, if you go to our voter guide, we include the ratings from the Philly Bar Association's Judicial Commission on our voter guide. One of the reasons, and as a lawyer in Philadelphia, we all get asked all the time, like, who am I supposed to vote for judge?
Yes, yes.
And I always say to people, like, I don't know all of these people. It's impossible. And
Well,
so your work is so important.
and Andrew, you just said something so important. I'm a corporate governance capital markets lawyer. I do not, I try very hard to keep my clients out of the courtroom.
Right.
And so even I don't have that information. And that's why I'm excited to share with you kind of what our process is and why we've talked about why we do it.
Yeah, I love that. So now that we have like sort of a baseline, can you explain how this all works? Like
Yes.
if I'm someone who's interested in running for judge, like what do I go through?
Absolutely. So, Andrew, it is an extremely vigorous process. First and foremost, each candidate must complete an extensive questionnaire and submit writing samples. Then they're actually assigned a 5-member investigative team. These are trained investigators who interview the candidate, interview a minimum at least 20 people familiar with the candidate, and the candidate's work. The investigative team reviews court records. They also do online research. They check social media. It's really a process. Then that team, Andrew, writes a written report and they provide an oral report to the commission. And it's the investigative team that actually comes up with a recommendation that they report to the commission. Now, after that whole process, it's not over yet. The candidate must still appear before the Judicial Commission and state why they feel they are qualified to be a judge. Then, and actually, Andrew, they're also asked kind of, why do you want to be a judge, right? And the commission chair asks the candidate questions either that came out of the report or maybe even some of the commission members, questions that they may have. Now, Andrew, the process does not occur in a vacuum. The commission can ask the prospective judge about anything that has come up during the process. Finally, it's the commission that votes, and it's by secret ballot, taking into account the recommendation, but not relying solely on that recommendation, but taking into account the interview, the written materials. The commission itself does a lot of work too. And the commission votes on whether or not the candidate should be highly recommended, or not recommended for judicial office. It's
It is so
hundreds of,
much work.
yes, and it's hundreds, if not thousands of hours by when you compile all of the people
Oh,
working on
absolutely.
all of the candidates, right? Like there's a lot of
And
candidates,
one of the
right?
things I tell people is like the people doing these investigations are like high-ranking lawyers, right? Like these are partners, these in firms, these are judges, these are chairs of
Yes.
divisions of law firms. I mean, these people are their time is expensive and they're
Yes.
volunteering it. And it's and not to like toot lawyers' horns, but I think it's like really, and
No.
there are also lay people involved, which is really
Yes. Yeah.
important. But I just always say to trust the people like this is a very serious process done by very serious people.
Andrew, I so greatly appreciate that comment because you are absolutely right. These are people at the top of their fields that are Andrew, they're volunteering their time, right? They're
Yep.
they're giving up their billable hour
Yes, yeah.
because they believe in this, in the city of Philadelphia, they believe in the work of the Philadelphia Bar Association, and they believe in the importance of making sure the voters have what they need to elect qualified judges.
It's so important. I mean, this cycle actually, I think it's the first time an investigative team reached out to me because they knew I knew one of the candidates. I wasn't on the list of
Yeah.
reference, but they knew that I had a relationship with the candidate, and we had a thorough questioning.
Yeah.
And it was great. I mean, it was cool because I've never been on that side of it. It was just really neat to see. How
Richard, what a
actually,
fabulous example, though, because, I talked about the extensive, vigorous process, and it's true. The candidate can give some references,
yep.
but you gave an excellent example of
Mhm.
how vigorous this process is. We do not just look at the references given, we go well and beyond and do our own investigation by those investigative
I
teams.
actually asked, like, how did you get to me? And they were like, we saw a picture of you with them in 2019 when they were running for a different
Makes me
running for
so,
office. And I was
makes
like,
me
wow,
so,
that's impressive. I was like,
it
yeah,
makes
I
me
do know
proud.
that person. And I wasn't connected to them in any other way, but it was just cool to see.
It makes
So,
me proud of the work,
oh,
right? Because
absolutely.
it shows the, I'm
It's
sorry, go on.
Yeah, yeah. I don't want us to run out of time. Candidates submit these materials. They're
Yes.
evaluated by the or reviewed by the investigators, evaluated by the commission itself. But like, what are the criteria the commission is
Mhm.
using? Like, how are they judging these candidates?
So the commission member's assessment is actually based on whether or not the candidate has met, and we have 10 criteria necessary to receive a recommended rating.
Mhm.
Okay. I have them up on my other screen, but just to summarize, right? It's all about trial experience to the extent that they are a trial lawyer. You don't have to be a trial lawyer to be a judge, but we do ask about that if they have trial
Okay.
experience. Knowledge of the law, temperament. A judge's temperament is so important. Community involvement. How involved, what is their connection, their deep
Mhm.
roots to Philadelphia, and a commitment to improvement of the quality of justice, as well as we ask about diversity, equity, and inclusion. So a commitment to DEI. And I could list them for you, right? Legal
Yeah.
ability sufficient to earn the respect of lawyers, but I won't go through the full list. But that's a great
Okay.
example. Now, the
Yeah.
interesting thing, Andrew, really quickly is
Yeah.
we have recommended and we have highly recommended. A
Mhm.
highly recommended rating is really reserved for those
Okay.
candidates who, in addition to meeting the 10 criteria, are preeminent in their profession, exceptionally skilled, possess a reputation, Andrew, that is known with utmost integrity and significantly will enhance the quality of the judiciary. And to get highly recommended, you need a significant, more than a majority of the commission members present to vote in favor.
That's really great. Actually, since we're on that point, and I hate to talk
Yeah.
about who are not recommended, but can
Mhm.
you talk about if a candidate doesn't go through the process, right?
If they do not go through the process, they are not recommended because you have to go through the process to be able to get those, ratings.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
I think it's important. There are candidates who receive that non-recommended rating, and then they've gone through it, and then if someone doesn't, they also receive that because I think
correct. That's exactly
you
right.
should go through it if you want to be a judge in Philadelphia.
It's a great
Yeah,
point.
yeah,
You really should.
absolutely.
And honestly, it's a way to really see the importance of the role. And if you want to be a judge, you should see the importance of the role.
Yeah. So we talked a little bit about somewhat about like the members of the commission, but you know,
Yes.
who in addition to like these high-powered lawyers like yourself, who serves on the commission and how does like the composition of the commission promote fairness and balance and independence? Because no offense, but a group of just super elite lawyers may not have the same values as like all of the city of Philadelphia. So how do you balance those needs?
Understood, understood. And I will say, as a member of the commission, because I'm chancellor, I'm a proud product of the Philadelphia public school system.
Oh,
And
I
from
realize
from
that.
the perspective of elite or non-elite, I am a Philly girl. So with that said, the
Yes.
Judicial Commission is nonpartisan, and what I am proud of is it has very many voices. It's 35 members. So
Mhm.
so we're not talking about
Oh,
a
wow.
5-member group of people sitting in a room making a decision. It's actually a broad range of types of people, whether it's practice areas, legal organizations, and even members of the Philadelphia community. I'm really glad you touched on the
Mhm.
fact that about, lawyers doing this, but it's not just lawyers. So first on the lawyers part, it's president judges of the Court of Common Pleas and Municipal Court, because they absolutely are living they are living it every day. So it's important to get their viewpoint. The chief public defender, a representative from the DA's office, the city solicitor, bar association leadership, and we even have leaders, either the president or representatives from our affinity bars, barristers, Hispanic Bar Association, South Asian, Asian Pacific American Bar Association. So it really is a cross section of diversity of people and practitioners. In addition, the investigative teams, Andrew, are also quite diverse,
Oh,
and they're
absolutely.
composed of that same attempt at diversity.
Right.
We are very weary of creating a group of lawyers, just like you said, telling the public at large to trust our sole judgment. And Andrew,
Mhm.
this is why we make sure, it's for this reason that we have non-lawyers included on both the investigative teams as well as the commission itself. As a matter of fact, we have 4 non-lawyers on the commission itself. It's a way to strive to represent a cross-section of the legal and non-legal community.
I love that. And full disclosure, everyone, I previously worked for the Bar Association and while I'm bound to
Yes,
confidentiality of
you
those
are.
meetings, it was always wonderful to see like that everyone had a voice and everyone's voice was heard, right? Lay people, younger lawyers who maybe sort of getting started in the field,
Yes.
like, but they have a lot of experience with this attorney. Everyone's voice was welcomed and appreciated. And
Yes.
I would love to see like those meetings were fun to just be a fly on the wall
Yeah.
in.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. And full
Um,
disclosure, we are proud to say that your CEO of the Committee of 70
yes.
is also a member of the commission. Again,
Yeah.
we're trying to reach out to non-lawyers who really understand the system or have an affinity to it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and for I am a lawyer, folks. If I'm not saying bad things about lawyers, to be clear, I love
You're
lawyers.
allowed. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're
Well,
allowed to
this has
challenge
been
us. We
like,
should be challenging
yeah,
ourselves all the time. Sorry, Andrew, go for it.
exactly. Yeah, no, I think we've covered most of our topics here. So if folks who are going to the polls today want to get information on those recommendations,
Yes.
we have it on our voter guide. But is there anywhere else you would want to send them
Yes.
before they head in?
Yes. And actually, Andrew, if I can touch on two things, you asked me some really important
Oh,
questions. Who
absolutely.
are the members?
Yeah.
Who, what are the criteria? I'm proud to say everything is public on our
Yeah.
website, our rules, our standards. It's almost a way that we insulate the process from being political or partisan, right? Because we have a full set of requirements. It's all available on the website. Our recommendations are set forth on our website, so you can turn to our website for all of this information. I also want to touch on something you shared, confidentiality. It's the hallmark
Yeah.
of
Oh,
the
yeah.
process, and it really helps the commission obtain information that individuals may not otherwise divulge, and it really helps
Mhm.
us understand the candidate and be able to make really transparent decisions as an organization. So everything is available on our
Yeah,
website.
yeah, the balancing, like we have our clear rules and standards, but the things said in these meetings, we're going to respect people. It's
Exactly.
fantastic. Well, we really appreciate your time today. And as
My
always, it's
pleasure.
so fun to see you,
It's
even if it's
great.
just virtual.
It's
Uh,
great to talk to you. And Andrew, I'm really grateful for the opportunity to share this because we believe the Judicial Commission's work is critical to giving voters an insight to who a candidate is and whether that person is qualified to hold judicial office. So I have to say, our hope is that our voters use the guidelines, use our recommendations in the polling booth, just like I did this morning. I got my I voted sticker. Let me see. Fabulous.
Hands on. Actually,
Fabulous.
our coworker this morning, she voted before she came in as well. And when we're sitting down, she said, "Oh, I just took this right in because she received direct mail from the Bar Association." And so she had her list and she was like, "I just followed this. It was super easy." And I was like, "I love that. Like, I love
Well,
to
I
see
love
that."
to hear.
So, well, thank you so much for your
Thank
time.
you.
Have a great day today. Talk
You
to you soon.
too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.